Hi everybody. Today I want to give you a walkthrough on how to use my Sims 4 package creator, or what I like to call the S4PC. I created a program to help make some of the repetitive work that you do creating build by objects for the custom contents for the Sims 4 a little less tedious. This is meant to work side Blender as well as the Sims 4 Studio. It is not to replace either one of them, but instead to complement them. I am not associated with Maxis, EA, or The Sims, nor am I associated or affiliated with Blender or The Sims 4 Studio or any of its creators. I am simply just another fan who wants to create something that makes creating custom content for us a little bit easier. So with no further ado, let's get started so you can learn how to use this baby. I'm going to assume that you already make objects. If you're watching this video, I'm not assuming that you're a brand new beginner. I am going to talk as if you have experience, you've been making build buys, you understand how all of these tools already work, minus the one that I just created. So if you're not sure how to work the other tools, there are other great resources and tutorials out there to show you how to use them. And if you need to learn how to use them, I'll be glad to try to help you find something that make you understand. So like you would typically do when you're creating a brand new object, assuming you are making the mesh, it's a brand new mesh, and this is what this is for, is you would hit the create 3D mesh and hit the object and export like you normally would. Now for me, I'm going to be making a cup that goes with a set that I'm currently working on. And with that, I'm going to use this toothbrush default mesh that is part of the game already. Export that, and we're going to name it as test cup. We're going to call it test cup so that way I can identify what it is. And we're going to save it as a package file like you normally would. Nothing's different there. We're going to hit save. Go ahead and let it do its thing, open, and as you see, bam, there it is. There's the cup and nothing different. This is where you do a little bit different. Everybody does things separate. Me personally, the next step I would have done is gone to meshes, and I would export all 4 of these meshes. Then I would go into texture, I'd export each one of those. That's just so I'd had the resources. But with my program, all you have to do is export just the highest mesh that is in there. In this case, it's LOD 0 high. We're going to export that one. And I've already got defaults in here, so I'm going to save it as Sims LOD high. Okay. We are not going to worry about the other files because that is where our program comes in. So going to have it, let it export it into another window. And I am going to minimize that. Actually, I'm close it. Don't even need it no more. Since that's exported, then of course you would go into Blender or whatever 3D other software program you would be using. And you would go ahead and take your mesh that you created and put it inside of the file that you just exported. So assuming that's what you do, this is what I do. There's the mesh we just exported, and you'll see that it has all of the information here that it needs for the Sims. Me personally, I go through here and I delete those. Ain't no reason to have them, but I leave the rig in there. I leave these in there. One belongs to the actual mesh itself, and the other one is your shadow planes. You definitely want to keep that in there, okay? And then you would take your personal mesh, you would append and add your own file in there. Let me see. This one's mine here. So we're going to append that one, and we're going to do object, no, mesh, sorry. Open append, and we're gonna, I think, so I already did it, so those are in there, and I believe that is 1. So let's append. Is that it? Yep, that's the right one. So mine just went in there, and I'm gonna delete the toothbrush. Mine is in there. I'm gonna rename it what it was supposed to originally be called, because we don't want that name to be any different than what it's supposed to be. That's what the original was called. And I want to make sure that my object actually is centered as it should be. Bear with me. I'm going to do this real quick. This is all part of recapping so you understand this is still the same process. We're going to move it over just a little bit so it'll be centered on our mesh. Just want to take a look at it, and we're going to pretend that works, okay? And bam, our mesh is now inside of the package file we exported. I'm going to turn on my file. I'm going to save this as, and I'm going to save it as my LOD. As you see here, I already had it there. So we would go ahead and save it as normal. So now we have the two files that we need. We have the package file from the Sims 4 Studio. We have your exported mesh file that you put your own mesh into. And you have your texture map now. So what you'll do is open up the Sims 4 package creator here. And the donor file is the file package that you created in the Sims 4 Studio and exported. And we did that, I believe, as a donor example. So donor example, I think that's what we called it. Go ahead and import that. We're going to do the mesh, which is the My High LOD, which is where we put our cup inside of the toothbrush blender file that we had exported. So that's my file. And the diffuse, because my cup does have a slight shiny top and then a matte bottom, I did create my own normals and speculars. But if it's only one texture, be it shiny or be it matte, you do not have to worry about even creating them. This program will by default create those meshes for you. And just to show you, I'm going to leave alone. So for the diffuse, this is where your texture would go. And it says that it found it in the mesh. Now, in my case, I actually have two different types of diffuses inside of my file. Let me show you real quick what I mean. So let me go to open, file, open, mine. Let's open mine. And when you look at my mesh, this is my final mesh that I finished with. I was messing with it and I ended up having two in there. And I intentionally left it in there so I could show you this. So there's two different diffuses in here. And because there's two, it will pick either one, not knowing which one is the correct one. Now, I might have to work on the program to get us to be able to select it, but right now it's picking one of them and I'm not sure which one it picks. So by default, I just go ahead and say, okay, I know you found it. I'm not sure you found the right one, so I am going to go in there and I'm going to put my own one in there that I know is the correct one. So I will upload my own, and you'll know that all your packages are in there or that it's looking for it because the name of those files are here. I am not going to create or put in my normals or specular so you can see that it does make it, but I do already have my custom because of my two different textures on my mesh. Once you have these three in, go ahead and hit save file as, and it's going to ask you to save your file as a package file. Now, I'm going to select this, but it's not going, yeah, I guess it is. So right here it says that is the donor file. I was going to say it shouldn't have let you, and I was about to freak out. It says that is a donor package. It will not let you override the package that you had exported from the Sims 4 because it's using that information to create your new package. So keep that in mind when you're exporting from Sims 4 Studio and you name it. Don't name it what you plan to call the file at the end. Some people do, some people don't, but keep that in mind. Say, name it like a donor example or donor file or build file, whatever you want to name that package, but that's not going to be the end name of your final product when it comes on this end. So that is my donor file, so I can't create it and name it that because it's pulling the information it needs from here. So here we're going to do finished, because I already had this done, finished cup example. I'm going to name it that, finished cup example package. I'm going to hit save. And while it's going through it, it's pulling all the information from the donor and it's going to start working. And once it's done, it will say complete. It will tell you where it saved it to, tell you that the file is ready, and you can now check your package in Sims 4 Studio to customize it further. So what we're going to do, and remember, I did not put the normals map in or the speculars map. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the output folder, which open this folder here. We're going to go to the finished cup example. We're going to double click and open that. Get that one out of the way. And there it is. This is what the Sims 4 package creator just made. It placed my cup into the package file as it should, but you'll notice that the name is still the toothbrush thing, the description is still the same, the price, everything's still the same from what you exported it from. When you go to the meshes, you'll notice that is your high. There is your low. There is your shadow LOD and your other shadow LOD. It does go from high, your poly count is 482, to medium, which is 480. Granted, it's only 2, but it's not a very big file either, and everything seems to line up right. I always do that no matter what I put in there. When you go into your textures, you'll see that the texture that you put in there is there, and we did upload texture. This is the one I told it to use. But remember, we didn't put a normals map in. So by default, it creates a default EA normals map and a default speculars map. Those are there. And then of course you can go into the game and test it and check it out. Look at everything, change your tags, change your everything that you normally do in there. But this is to save you from having to create the medium, the shadow high, the shadow medium, the, all the other things. Now because I know this is a little bit more shinier than this part here, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. My donor example is still there because I didn't close the program. My LOD high is still in there, and my texture map is still in there. But this time, I want to use my own normals map. And I believe I poops. I don't think that's not right. I'm going to put my own normal, not a PNG. Where is my normals? I put my normals. I had cup. This is cup 5. There's my normal for cup 1. I don't have cup 5 done yet, so I haven't worked on those maps yet. So this is my normals map that I created for my cup 1. And then my specular map for cup 1. We're still in cup 5. Let's go back to cup 1. There's my specular map. And because I've already created those, it's now not going to create the file for me. It's letting you know I'm using my own custom. It's turned green. Then we're going to go ahead and hit save file. And I'm going to have it named finished cup example again. Remember, we can't use a donor example because the donor package up here, and that's where it's buying it's all of its information from. Yep, I want to override it. Let it do its build. See, it's pushing all the stuff in there. It takes a little bit longer since it's now putting in the normals and the specular map. We're going to open that file. It opened in another window, so I'm going to double click on the finished cup example. Let it open in Sims 4 Studio. And now my normals is there. And now you can see it's my custom one because I have a little bit of shine in there. If you see that. And my specular map, which you kind of can't see in this, but it's there, I promise. So you're able to allow Sims 4 Package Creator to make your normals and your specular unless you want to be more hands-on and do it yourself. But the best part is you don't have to worry about these other 3 meshes, which is so time-consuming when you're trying to mess with that. Now, you may want to, and this is an option and something I thought about doing, is allow it to do your LOD1 medium and shadows and stuff, and then re-export it and do some more fine-tuning to it if you wanted to have lower poly counts. But this way you're not having to start from scratch, which is something I really find cool. The things are endless what you can do with this now that it does that for you and help try to kill some time on there. I know I'm rambling and I apologize. I don't do videos very often, but I am excited that this program is working the way it is and it's turning out and actually being a lot more handy for me when I go to create objects than I expected to honestly be. But I would like to get other people's input and suggestions and some ideas. Now you know how this works. Go ahead, download it. If you have any feedback or questions, you're more than welcome to email me by clicking this button to download it. You can go to my website, which is my Patreon site. It is free. I'm not charging anybody for this program, but donations are always welcome, and it encourages me to continue and upgrading this even more so, or even making more programs that you guys might suggest with the support of you guys. Please feel free to download it, test it, see how it works for you. If you have any feedback, any suggestions, or any problems, please let me know so we can make this program even better. And I hope that it does make your tasks and your creations at least a little bit easier and a little less tedious. Have a blessed day, guys. Bye.